Thank you, Jeffrey. Those beautiful words. What a terrific leader you have. And what a beautiful event on this magnificent evening in this magnificent hall. So thank you so much for coming out to honor me and the show. You know, as a biographer, I've been very lucky to have followed in the footsteps of Alexander Hamilton. He issued the appeal to the Constitutional Convention, perhaps did more than anyone else to secure its ratification. And then I was lucky enough to follow in the footsteps of George Washington as he presided over the Constitutional Convention and forged a federal government fully consistent with its principles. So I can't help but feel a small tingle at being here in Philadelphia, birthplace of the Constitution, and receiving this award at the National Constitution Center. The work of honoring and explicating the Constitution, begun by Hamilton, Madison, and Jay in the Federalist Papers, is now gallantly carried on at the center by Jeffrey Rosen and his excellent staff. So bless you all for your contributions to the Constitution. We need to keep it alive. Now, at the very first performance of Hamilton back in January 2015, people started drifting over to me at the end of the performance, and they all said the same thing. Ron, I love the show, but as I was watching it, I was embarrassed by how little I knew about the history of my own country. I kept hearing this again and again. Perhaps the musical's foremost achievement is that we've gotten millions of Americans, both adults and school children, reading American history with gusto for the first time. You know, between the publication of my Hamilton biography in 2004 and my first meeting with Lin-Manuel Miranda in 2008, my book was optioned 3 times for a feature film in Hollywood, and nothing ever happened. They didn't know what to do with it. We kept hearing from producers that American history was boring, nobody cared about it, and that no mass audience existed for a drama about a founding father. Poor fools who might have thought otherwise. In the wake of Hamilton, I'm happy to report, American history is not only popular on stage and screen, but it is hip, cool, and even trendy. We're separated from the founding era by a cultural barrier. Those folks talk differently, they dress differently. Hamilton, miraculously, obliterates that distance, and it tells the story of our past in the style of today. History is no longer the dry recitation of facts and dates, but the story of brilliant, passionate, and complex personalities who managed to be both visionary and fallible at once. And it always saddens me when people tell me that when I ask them about history in school, and they say that it was the most boring subject. I say, that's criminal liability. You know, history should be the most exciting and passionate of all the subjects. Now, from the time I started working with Lin-Manuel in 2008, he would send me via email each song as he wrote it. Remember when he sent me the first George III song, You'll Be Back, actually sitting at my desk, just howling with laughter. Then one day in 2012, he told me he would be working with actors for the first time, and he wanted me to see it. I went to a very small rehearsal studio in the Garment District in Manhattan on a Monday afternoon. I gingerly pushed open the door, and there indeed stood Lin and 6 other actors. They were just standing in front of music stands. And when I saw them, I confessed to my embarrassment. I thought to myself, oh my God, they're all Black and Latino. I really had not given much thought to the casting. Yeah, I had seen Lin's first show, In the Heights, where it was a Black and Latino cast, but that was a realistic representation of that neighborhood. But I decided that when this rehearsal was over, I would take Lin aside and convince him that this casting was a dreadful mistake. After all, we were talking about the founding fathers of the United States. Then I sat down. I remember it was just me and Tommy Kail, our director, and Jeffrey Seller, our producer. I sat down and the 7 actors began to sing, and it was simply glorious. They infused the lyrics with such rich spirit that I thought, but of course, revolutions are made by young people full of idealism, by outsiders who would like their fair share of society. A multiracial, multicultural cast suddenly seemed like an ingenious idea. Well, this was happening like in 5 minutes in my head. It seemed like the highest fulfillment of a Constitution that never mentioned the word slavery, but that clearly, if reluctantly, condoned it. Those who were edited out of the story would now be edited back into it. Like many historians, I'm constantly asked, what would the founders have thought of this or that? And I always replied, the founders were not a monolithic block of people. They were indeed fighting over the same issues that animate us today: federal versus state power, strict construction versus a liberal interpretation of the Constitution, etc. Please don't be misled by the quaint costumes of the 18th century, the powdered hair and buckled shoes. These people were militant and contentious and never shied away from a good fight. The very future of the country was up for grabs, and they were not going to muzzle their opinions. Their opinions were very strongly held. Alexander Hamilton was a flawed genius. We can admire his soaring achievements even if we deplore some of his personal weaknesses. In embracing the musical, audiences, I think, have shown that they don't want history that debunks our country's past. But neither do they want history that exaggerates or sanitizes it. The audience reaction has been very mature. Hamilton invites audiences to grapple with our nation's complicated origins and thereby makes our early struggles feel urgent and vital and, yes, all too contemporary. Thank you again to Jeffrey and all you folks for bestowing on me this marvelous honor. I think that I'll go to bed with this hanging around my neck tonight. Thank you.